Hi, it's Wayne Hall back again with indies that you can order through your local shop. There's a guy that you probably are familiar with by the name of Joe Hill, and he has some relationship to Stephen King, interestingly enough. And of course, the thing he's best known for is Lock and Key. And I've seen the show and it's on, I think it's Netflix, and it's pretty true to this, which I like very well. But what I want to talk about is not that one, which you're familiar with. It's probably another one that you're less familiar with, called The Cape. It comes out from IDW, and I'm going to read the description to you. Every little boy dreams about putting on a cape and soaring up, up, and away. But what if one day that dream were to come true? Eric was like every other 8-year-old boy until a tragic accident changed his life forever. The Cape explores the dark side of power, as the adult Eric, a confused and broken man, takes to the skies and sets out to exact a terrible vengeance on anyone who's ever disappointed him. And I have to say, as a fan of DC Comics, Superman, Batman, all those things, the icons and stuff are the ones that appeal to me because I feel like people, if they got extra abilities, might try to do the best thing they can for others, try to help other people and things like that. Not in this book. I have to tell you, it's a perfect example of what the word horror means. The only ability he has is to fly, and every time I read a page in this book, I was grateful that's all that he had, because any other ones would have been a disaster for anybody around him. But it's such an interesting thing. I think because it's called the cape, and I think the cape is what gives him the ability to fly. Let's just say that anybody that he's ever run afoul of, bad things happen. And things I don't dare even say about them because they're just so awful and just so honestly terrible. There's two police officers early in the book, and this is, by the way, the collection of that came out individually. There's also, by the way, before I get too far into it, I want to mention there was a follow-up miniseries. There's a gap in time in this book, and what happens is they fill that miniseries. That miniseries fills that space, and he runs into in that miniseries a group of cosplayers out in the middle of the woods. Bad things happen to them too. I have to say, he goes out there for solitude, but he ends up running into this group. Now in here, he's in town, and he's in amongst the people, and we get to see a lot of the people that have done him wrong over the years, and really bad. It's a little sketchy as far as the art goes, as you can see there. It's not necessarily as clean as superheroic books are, but that's good. That fits the tone of the book. The characters are interesting. I have to say that the Eric, the main guy, is you understand why he's doing what he's doing. Doesn't mean you like it, but you get to understand the terrible things that have happened to him. And there's some great art when he's flying, like that, for example. That's a great double page spread when he's flying. And of course, you see there's a plane coming. Fear for the plane is all I can tell you. And there's all kinds of stuff that happens in there. And see, the thing about horror is you don't dare spoil it. Because when you come across these events, you need to be surprised. I never was a big horror fan until the last couple of years when I came across things like this, because it gave me some really interesting things to think about. You know, Superman, if you watched Injustice, the video game, or if you saw the comics that Tom Taylor did, Superman is a much less righteous individual in there. He's not this guy, he's not Eric, but he's different. With Superman, you always know he's going to do the right thing. He's going to do the proper thing. In this book, he's not going to do the right thing. The bad news is he's extremely creative on how he does things to people. So it came out individually, and it's put together in this nice hardcover edition, which I got because it's back in that a set of books back there in the shelves normally, because I really, really, really enjoy this book. And I think if you are ready for something different as far as superheroics go, this is a book I would say you'd want to read. Now, it originally came out, let me find that year real quickly. It came out in 2012, so it's a little older as a book, but you can still order it in many shops. So, because Joe Hill, by the way, another bit on him, he is the guy that's behind a series of horror books that DC is doing. And so he gets around, this guy, and I can see why. If you read this book, you'll know why, because it's just something that's going to grip you, and you will not believe the stuff he does. You just will not. Let's just say that it ends interestingly. There are things that could spin out of this. See, spoiling things is something I just hate to do, especially when things are involved with horror. You have got to be surprised, or else you lose all the ability of what's going on. But it does have an interesting ending. As I always like to say, I get really unhappy when I read a story and the ending doesn't stand up. This one stands up. It's appropriate for the book. And let's just say we could see stories spinning out of the Cape, but I don't think we will for a while. I think Mr. Hill is busy with stuff at DC, so I don't think we'll see that. So let's get on to the grading, shall we? The writing, I give it an A, as always. I'm always drawn to strong writing, and that's what happens here. The characters are interesting. What they do is unexpected. It's interesting to see somebody who's not necessarily a good guy get powers and what he does with it. It's really shattering, I have to say. So it's written well. You believe what's going on, though. I mean, flight is the power that almost everybody wants. People always say in interviews these days, what superpower would you want? I always say the future, but really, I really want the flight. They want to hear you. You want to tell the future, but flight's what everybody wants. So this is a case where not good. So the writing is really strong. I would give it an A. The art, as I said, is sketchier than I would probably like, but it does fit the tone. But I don't know. At times, I think it could have been a little stronger, so I would give the art a B. Now, the lettering, I thought it was actually pretty good in this one. I would give that a B as well, because it's pretty well done. They let the art shine when it needs to, and the text is really interesting. When horrific things happen, you don't need lettering, and they're good with that, so I think that's good. Now, literary merit. Does this book hold up as a literary story? Yeah, I'd say it does. It's got surprises along the way. It's got interesting characters. It's got stuff. Now, I would say this is not for young kids. You know, if somebody like Superman, you're a 7 or 8-year-old boy, not for them. But I'd say if you're an adult and you're looking for something that's different, I would give this a B, strong B. Fun factor, no. There's no fun in this at all. If there's any humor at all, and there's very little, it's dark. So I would give it a C on fun factor. Overall grade, because Mr. Hill is so good at what he does. It's hard not to give it anything but an A. But I'd probably go like a B plus or something like that. It's different, and I love different. I love something that surprises me, and that's what this book does. It doesn't surprise me in the fact that he does bad things, but what he chooses to do surprises me. If you read the book and you get to this business with the 2 cops, you'll see what I'm talking about. Very stuff. So I would give it like a B plus, and I don't normally want to fudge in the pluses and stuff, but I don't know if it's an A, because the artwork kind of flusters me a little bit. I would say B plus, something I don't normally do. But it's the Cape. It's from IDW. You can get it through local shops. If they don't have the Cape, try something else that Joe Hill is doing. Although, don't normally want to promote DC in these things, but I would, again, Lock and Key. If you haven't read Lock and Key, that's a good one to go back to. So Mr. Hill is doing a great job on the horror stuff, and I highly recommend that. And until next week. keep reading your comics.